Hello, everyone. This is Independent Conservative. I am Ryan Bowling. Thank you all for joining me. So, Oscar-winning actress Halle Berry is feeling some kind of way because since her 2002 Oscar-winning performance in the movie Monster Ball, she claims that no other black woman or black actress has won an Oscar. And that has really bothered her. So let's get right into this article because after I read this article, I thought to myself, there could be other reasons other than the presumption of racism could be the answer of why there aren't more black women winning Oscars. So let's get right into this article here. It's not always race. I'm pretty sure there's some racial elements, but it's not always race. Actress Halle Berry says she has been eternally miffed that no black woman has won the Best Actress award at the Oscars since her big win for the 2002 film Monsters Ball, a fact she thinks screams of racism. And I've said this some time ago that I believe that Hollywood was racist and is racist now. I still believe that they're racist. I don't believe all these people that they're putting in, all these black people they're putting in movies, more and more black people being, I don't believe that's them trying to overcome racism. I believe that's a Marxist move designed to cause division because what a lot of these black actors are doing are they replacing white actors in movies that were always with white actors and the characters they played. So I think that's Marxism, and it ain't had nothing to do with trying to squash racism, the history of racism in Hollywood. They're still racist. They're just trying to cause division and cause a revolution, but that's another story, and I digress. Yeah, she thinks it screams of racism. It goes and say, to date, Berry is the only black woman to ever win the Oscar for Best Actress. In fact, only one other woman of color has won the top Oscar at all, and that was in 2022 when Michelle Yeoh won for, I think that's how you pronounce her name, Yeoh, won for Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, according to Variety. And not incidentally, Yeoh is the only Asian woman to ever win a Best Actress award. In all, 11 black women have taken home an Oscar stretching back to the Academy's first. Hattie McDaniel, who won Best Actress in a supporting role for Gone with the Wind. But to Berry, this is all very disheartening. She says, I'm still eternally miffed that no black woman has come behind me for the Best Actress Oscar. I'm continually saddened by that year after year, Berry told Marie Claire, and it's certainly not because there has been nobody deserving. Now, these are her answers, okay? This is not the first time Berry has questioned the lack of black women on the list of the Academy's top honors. In 2020, Berry told Variety she thought there have been plenty of black women who have deserved the recognition, adding, quote, I hoped they would have, but why it hasn't gone that way, I don't have the answer, end quote. Berry insisted Andra Day in the United States versus Billie Holiday, by Viola Davis in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Cynthia Erivo's Turn in Harriet, and Ruth Negga in Loving, I hope I'm pronouncing people's name right, in Loving, were all worthy candidates for the Oscar. I mean, you can argue that, but that's subject. I would say that's subjective. Okay, everybody has their own opinions, but I'm going to get into that. The Catwoman star also said it has been one of her, quote, biggest heartbreaks. Her win did not open the door for other black women to follow her as a Best Actress award winner. And I'm going to close the article here. You can read the rest of that article if you like in the description box below. I'm pretty sure you guys get the gist of what she is arguing. And I've said that in previous videos and as I said in the introduction to this video, that I believe that Hollywood is still racist and that the influx of black actors in a lot of these movies today is not because they're trying to overcome their racism. In my opinion, I think that's just a Marxist move. Purpose is to get rid of all white people, make them angry, put all these black people in positions and so forth, and then cause a revolution. But like I said, it's a whole nother story. Here's my opinion on this. Excuse me. I understand her argument. Okay. In my opinion, first, I'm going to say I don't feel. I've watched Monster Ball. Monster Ball is a great movie. There's some good acting in it, but I feel, in my opinion, that Halle Berry should have won the Oscar for her role in Dorothy Dandridge, the movie. I felt she did much better. I felt like Monster Ball was demeaning. Okay, that was the first movie she posed naked, and the sex scene in that movie, I just felt it was just demeaning to her. It was very demeaning. That's just my opinion, and I still hold that opinion. I've been holding to that opinion for years. Okay, yeah, she won an Oscar for it, but she won an Oscar for just letting herself go, almost like, okay, and all the talking all, illiterate and all that. That to me just was not. I don't feel that's the best form of acting to win an Oscar for, in my opinion. Okay. I wish she had won the Oscar for Dorothy Dandridge. Okay, I feel that was a more articulate role. In my opinion, I felt that was a better role, and she did very well. But at any rate, I think that it might not, in this particular instance, necessarily be race related as much as it may be numbers related. And what I mean by that is this: you got to compare the amount of black actors and actresses in comparison to the amount of white actors and actresses. There are far less black actors and actresses than there are white actors and actresses. She mentioned about that, the article mentioned about the Asian American that won an Oscar. Okay, yeah, but how many Asian Americans are actors? How many black people and black men and black women are actors? There's a lot, but there aren't as many as whites, because for one, there's more whites in America than there are blacks. There's over 160 million whites, or people we would consider to be whites in America, as compared to the like 49 million or the 13%, 49 million blacks. That's a big number. That's a big difference there. Okay. So there aren't too many black women and black men that want to be actors, okay? And so that could be a reasoning behind it. But the other thing too is that, let's face it, my thing is like this. I don't like the idea of giving a black person or a person of color an Oscar because you don't want to look like you're discriminating against someone of color, to use that term, okay? I feel like it should be earned. And I feel like most of the people who watched this actor or actress, a person of color that essentially, wants to get this Oscar or whatever, I think that they should have an opinion on that. Like, okay, does this person really deserve this Oscar or what? When you look at the movie, The Color Purple, I think The Color Purple, Whoopi Goldberg went up against someone else and they won. And when I saw that, I was like, I used to always be like, man, I felt that was race related. But I can't remember the person she went up with, put up against, or who won over her. Put it in the comment box below. I can't remember. But it could be just as well that person won because they was a better actor. But like I said earlier in the introduction of this video, acting or good acting is subjective. It's based on the viewer. What one person may consider to be good acting, another person may not consider to be good acting. Case in point, when I saw Scarface before I saw The Godfather. Okay, I went and saw Scarface at the movie theater with Al Pacino, and I thought he did an outstanding job. But there are a lot of people, and I don't think he was nominated for or won an Oscar for that role, but a lot of people feel like he overacted, as in comparison to his role as Michael in The Godfather. And when I first saw The Godfather, everybody talking about how great his role was, how good he was in The Godfather. So when I finally watched The Godfather, I'm like, okay, yeah, it didn't, at the time, didn't ring with me. I'm like, okay. And I compared that with his role as Tony Montana in Scarface, and I'm like, I felt at the time he did a much better role in acting in Scarface, but other people felt like he overacted. I felt like at the time he underacted in The Godfather, because I'm like, what's the big deal? He all calm. He never makes any expressions hardly. And I never could get into that. I was like, how's that good acting? Now I understand that Michael had a calm resolve that was evil and manipulative. Okay, and that role became more fleshed out to me when I watched The Godfather Part 2. Part 1, I couldn't really see it that much in him, but in Part 2, I could see why people was like, man, he really did that, because in Part 2, Al Pacino's role as Michael was much more fleshed out, in my opinion, and I saw Michael as a calm but calculating and evil person. Okay, so when I compare that role in Part 2 to Scarface, I kind of get it. But I still, in so many ways, don't feel like he overacted in Scarface as Tony Montana, because that's Tony Montana. Okay, but anyway, what my point is that acting, I feel, is subjective to the viewer. What one person may feel is good acting, another person may feel it sucks. And in the same issue here with Halle Berry's complaint that there hasn't been any more black actresses who have been nominated or have won an Oscar, my answer to that would simply be, do they deserve it? The ones that have been nominated, do they deserve it? It's all subjective. Now I know that the panel, probably the people that make the judgment calls on whether or not this person should get an Oscar and that person shouldn't get an Oscar, is stemmed in racism going back many decades. Okay. Hattie, whatever that lady name, I forgot her name. Okay, black lady, 1940, with Gone with the Wind. I mean, well, if you look at Gone with the Wind, you see the scene how Hattie looks. She's overweight and dark skinned and overweight. And back then racism was huge. People could argue that all day, whatever. I didn't see Gone with the Wind, so whatever. But yeah, I think it's just subjective. Acting is subjective, and I have to ask the question: does any of these black actors deserve to be recognized in terms of being nominated and winning an Oscar? I don't think it would be right or fair to give these people an Oscar. You can nominate them, but to give them an Oscar simply because you don't want to seem to be racist, I feel is underhanded. And I feel like that's overlooking the true acting talent of the actress. I'm going to give, who would want that role? I mean, come on. Now, if you're a real artist, in my opinion, if you're a real artist, you want to be recognized for your innate talent. I've said this in previous videos before, but I'm going to say it here again. As a fiction writer, I want people to recognize my writing as good writing. And I've had that happen with the stories that I've had, with the short stories that have been published. None of the publishers know my race. When you read my stories, you don't know whether or not the main characters are black, white, Hispanic. You really don't know. You can assume, but you don't know. And the publishers do not know my race. They don't know my ethnicity. They don't know any of that. They just recognize my stories and they like my stories. And that's what I want to be recognized as. I want to be recognized as a good writer. Not, oh, he's black. I'm going to give him this because he's black. I don't want that. My race does not precede my talent. It's my talent first, and my race is the last thing on the totem pole, okay? That doesn't define me. I may have some of the mannerisms of blacks, but, and some people may interpret it as not having the mannerisms of blacks, but I would say so. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I don't think in this instance it's purely racist. It could be some racism in there. It could be some discrimination in there, but I don't think so at this point, Miss Halle Berry. I think it's just a matter of numbers and subjectiveness. The black actresses out here, do they really deserve to be recognized and be nominated and given an Oscar? And if given an Oscar, should they be given an Oscar because they really earned it, or should they be given an Oscar because you want to up the numbers? You want to meet your quotas, so to speak, of black actors and actresses getting Oscars. I had to put that out there because it's not always racist. Okay, yeah, but that's my interpretation of it. What do you guys think about what Halle Berry's argument is? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all. See you again.